All right, guys, I am going to talk about how to plan your rabbit breeding strategy and the process that I go through in order to choose who's going to be paired together, as well as the timing of it all. Because it might seem a little easier, but then when you're down in the nitty gritty of it, I hear so many people struggle. And so I'm going to use this year's plans as an example and then show you the process that I go through. Okay? Planning your rabbit breeding season is more than just putting two rabbits together. Okay? If you want strong litters, great type, if you want to grow as a breeder and become known for something, you need to plan it out. Okay? It's not something you can just wing. You need to define your breeding goals. So what areas are you going to try and improve on? And I don't want you to try and do all of these at once. That's the other thing that I see people do that is essentially not going to work as well with goals in general. Okay. You need to pick one or two things that you're going to improve on in a year's time or a breeding season's time. Get good at those and then go back and choose another one. Okay. So you could do something like improve litter health. Sometimes like the size, maybe they're just not as healthy as they could be. Test different things out and see what needs to change. Choose animals that have a thicker, more fuller flesh condition. So maybe they're just not looking as good as they could. Maybe that has to do with what you're feeding, but it could also just be the lines and you need to try and improve on that. It could be the arch, the way that they are put together. If you're not used to showing terms, it's the way that they're posed or the way that they're stacked. And then do you want to grow your rabbitry size? So I have downsized a lot. I've purged, pulled, culled the ones that just don't quite measure up. So we're a little bit on the lower side, but I want to be able to keep the offspring that show promise and be able to grow in the years to come, because we are down to about 8 to 9 keepers, breeders in my verbiage, but I want to be able to expand and eventually be able to get up to about 16. Under 20 is where I'm like, that feels good for me, but you have to also have to remember mine eat about 3 to 1 of the amount that a typical 5 to 6 pounder rabbit eats. And so it's a lot, they're a lot bigger. Okay. All right. Here's my personal goal for this year. I want to shorten the shoulders. And so the goal with this is to essentially you want to see a half basketball on a table. So I'm going to use my mouse here. She's just a little bit longer. Here, Bailey is a pretty nice, well put together one. But I also am going to start with the girls that are young enough that if I don't get to breed them with a new buck that I purchased to shorten them up, I am not missing out. I can just use the buck with them next year. Okay. Because I've got some older girls that are more foundational that are just, I love the way that they look. And so if I am able to find a buck that is more in line with what I want, I'm saving those does for the later in the year so I can use them with him. Okay. So I need to, both of my bucks, they're just a little too much shoulder. And so choose the ones that, especially if you don't breed all year round, that you have the potential to keep offspring from them, but use them first in the year. And then if you don't find a buck that, hopefully you'll find the animal that will meet the goals that you are setting for yourself, but you also can use them again, but don't miss out on the older ones that may be retiring soon. Okay. Developing good animals starts at livestock selection or before the purchase, not at the breeding part or at the who goes with who part. I hear this all the time and it's died off a little bit, but it drives me bonkers. People will say that choose one that is lacking in one area to pair with the one that is good in that same area. Okay. So for example, the shoulder thing, that I should find a buck that is good in shoulder, but maybe lacking in hindquarters, and pair him with a doe that has good hindquarters. The genes do not know what we are trying to pair together. They just pick it out and, kind of mishmash the animals together. It's not like it takes the good pieces and makes the best. I don't know where that became a thought process, but it's not logical. It doesn't match out. So start as the animal stands on its own. You want the absolute best that you can purchase or develop before you even decide to breed. Once you get to what livestock you have, then yeah, put the ones together that maybe are lacking in one area, pair them with the one that, is their best opposite. But also, it's still not going to work out as well. So you should always be trying to look at the top 10% and the bottom percent and remove that lower half, okay? It's always something that you're going to be improving on. So just think about that when you are choosing who stays, who you purchase, who you're pairing together. Breed improvement or livestock improvement is an infinite game. It doesn't ever stop. So I don't want you to think that, oh, I've got this issue mastered, and don't keep an eye on it, or don't be aware that you may have to fix it out and remove it or cull it again. Early on, I started and had shoulder issues with the breed, got it under control for about 5 years, and then now I don't know where it creeped back in, but it's also pulling from genes from, way back. So it's just sometimes it's there and you got to fix it again. And don't feel bad that if you revert or something starts showing up that you're less than, just know it's there and start working to get it out of your herd again. All right, let's talk about timing now that we've covered, the livestock side of it, okay? So I want you to get a sheet of paper and write out the dates that you don't want litters to be born on, okay? So this could be things like vacations, holidays. I will get to this later, but I don't like to have litters born within the frost dates of our area. I have a barn now, so I'm able to bring them in to where it's a little bit warmer. If the weather just kind of decides to be funky. We do have a basement that is still cool, but not as warm as the heated house. However, we run a fire down there sometimes in the wood burner. And so again, that can be even hotter than it is in where we live because it's at the bottom. So, just being mindful of those things that maybe they're life situations that you may just want to avoid and not cause yourself extra work, right? Also things like July 4th around here. We still live in the same area as where we always have. However, we are more out in the country than we were before, and people have acres between them, not, feet or yards. We used to live on about an acre, and now we're living on 5. And everyone else around us is about the same or more. And I assumed that the noise around the 4th of July and the holidays like that would be less because there's more distance between us. Oh no, they get the bigger fireworks that are more noisy. So things like that where it could cause stress on the animals and potentially litter losses could happen. Try to avoid those dates. Things like that or over like Thanksgiving and Christmas and things like that. I don't want to be stuck, quote unquote, at holiday get together, knowing that my litters potentially could be being born, and that's where my head is. So things like that, and especially that's what I love about rabbits is that you can kind of control when the litters are born, so you're able to work around those schedules. Think about also how much space do you have and how quickly do you either harvest them if you're supporting your homestead with them, or how quickly you make sales and how quickly are they picked up. So this is something that it also, when you're cutting out the super cold months, that shortens your window again. And my breed tends to be a little bit, or at least my lines at least, the litters need separated quickly, usually within 9 to 10 weeks old, or they will have fights. And so this is something that is not pushed enough out there. Rabbits do not want to live together. I don't care what you think. You want to trash me in the comments? I don't care. Rabbits will fight. And especially if you're raising show quality ones like mine, all it takes is one bite to completely ruin a rabbit's career. Okay? An ear tear that is deep enough that just, one sibling nipped enough. If it's a nice little chunk, that could ruin a rabbit's career. if you know that it takes your buyers 2 weeks or 3 weeks in long to pick up their animals, and you don't have more than maybe 3 extra cage spaces or buffer cages, then you know that you need to leave that long in between your next litter and when they need to be separated. Okay, so let's say that litter 1 is ready to go the 1st of August, and then you have another litter due, and the mama's raising them. You can have them at the same time. But once they start getting closer to that I need separated age, you better make sure that that second litter is not within like a week of litter 1. Okay, so if litter 1's ready to go at August 1st, try to wait until the 1st of September in order to have litter 2 needing separated. Does that make sense? I brought this up already. So are you driven by weather deadlines? If you have them in your basement, or I've heard of people having them in heated garages, things like that, you don't have to worry about this as much, okay? Because 50 degrees is ideal for rabbits in general. I think litters can do okay as long as they stay within the fur that mama sets for them and things like that. I've had litters, we were gone over some harsh weather. They were fine in the teens, and it was a litter of 6. So they were there to keep each other warm. If you have fewer kits, then it's a little bit more of an issue, but just keep that in mind. Is weather an issue? If not, great. Are you trying to get animals on by a certain time on a show table? So sometimes, especially with my breed, I need to, if I'm wanting to get animals at a certain show, if I'm raising up new ones, then it can be 8 months to a year that I need to plan ahead for that. But if it's a doe that I want to be able to get on the show table, do you need to keep her, breed her after the fact? Or can you give her enough time to recoup? So I've got 2 does particular, 3 girls that I would like to get showing this year. And so I'm holding them until the fall, and getting their show season done early this year. Here's something that I think is important, and it helps with your mental your mental capacity. You do not have to remember all of this off the top of your head, okay? Make notes about things, okay? So make notes about what actually happened during the breedings versus what you planned, okay? Because sometimes bucks and does just don't cooperate, and you need to end up pairing them with, a doe with something else. It could be the weather. It could be just they don't like each other, and she doesn't want to lift. But if we're going back to some of my first does that need to have their litters this year, my breed needs to have their first litter by a year old. And one of the girls is a year old in April. So let's just say that she's not cooperating with one buck, and we're getting close to that year old mark. Then I'm just going to pair her with another one so that she doesn't have the delivery issues, because, the one that I wanted wasn't working out. Decide what you're going to do if the breeding doesn't go as planned. So this is often more in the delivery stage if the litter just didn't do well. Sometimes it can be a genetic thing, like the gene pool just doesn't match. Think about it and go okay, am I going to let her recoup for a month and try again? Just consider what you want to do ahead of time so that you know in that moment what you're going to do. Okay? So I had one doe that I really wanted to keep one from her, but her entire litter didn't work out. And so I intended to honestly go ahead and breed her again, but it just never happened. But I don't know if who she was bred with caused the issue. Okay, so I'm going to make note of that and try again with a different one. Okay, so little things like that are going to happen. Just decide what you're going to do. But oftentimes it's hard to remember year after year what happened. So create a breed journal, or I love to use Trello because it's accessible on my phone, and I can just pop in notes and keep track of that. Okay. If you have questions about planning your breeding season or about the upcoming litters that we will be having in 2025, drop them below and I will help you out.